Hi everyone, and welcome back to Week 8 of the 2013 NFL season. Last week my picks were excellent. Unfortunately, my results just weren't. You know, when I pick these games that I play every week, if everything that should happen does happen, I usually have a very good chance, but you can't do very much when you get a lot of pick sixes against you and quarterbacks go down. God willing, this doesn't happen this week. Here are the picks. The first game we're going to look at has Cleveland going to Kansas City to take on the still undefeated Chiefs, who are 7.5-point favorites at home. The Chiefs are very stingy on defense, number one in the league in points allowed at 11.6 games. Cleveland doesn't score very many points to begin with normally and are on their third-string quarterback. This should be an easy cover. Lay the points, take Kansas City, minus 7.5. The second game has Dallas going to Detroit, where the Lions are favored by 3 at home. Dallas is trying to win back-to-back on the road. Kind of hard to do in the NFL. Detroit lost a heartbreaker last week at home. Probably won't lose back-to-back at home. So the point spread is kind of low here. The worst you can do is probably a push. So lay the points and take Detroit, minus 3. The third game we're going to look at has Pittsburgh going to Oakland. The Raiders are coming off the bye and are 2.5-point dogs at home. Pittsburgh seems to have righted the ship. They really cut back on their turnovers. They've only had 1 in their last 2. Turnovers were killing Pittsburgh earlier in the year. They are getting healthy on offense as well. The Raiders are coming off the bye, but so far teams coming off the bye are only 3-5 straight up and 3-5 against the spread. It's a small price to pay for a Pittsburgh Steelers team that are desperate to get back into it and I think have the guns to do so. So lay the points, take Pittsburgh, minus 2.5. And the fourth game has Seattle going to St. Louis on the Monday nighter. You saw what Seattle did last time on the road against a divisional foe. They beat them by 12 or so, and they gave them a gift touchdown. Russell Wilson never fumbles like that. He did at the 5-yard line or so, and Arizona got an easy touchdown. This should be a romp. I think Seattle is tired of people telling them that they're not very good on the road. Well, they're invincible at home and very good on the road, and they're going to prove it to everybody once again. Lay the points. Take Seattle, minus 10.5. Here are my 4 over-under plays for this week. Game number 1 has Washington going to Denver. The number is 57.5. Just take the over. The second game we just talked about is Cleveland at Kansas City. It's a low number, 39.5. I think the Chiefs have a very good chance of shutting out the Browns, or at least keeping them to single digits. So let's take under 39.5. Game number 3 has Miami going to New England. That number is 45. Last year they played to 2 unders, but prior to that it was 6 straight overs. Last year Miami had a terrible offense, but this year they're a bit better with Mike Wallace getting some chemistry now with the quarterback. Meanwhile, the Patriots keep losing players on defense, and they are getting healthier on offense. I think this number sails way over, so take over 45. And the fourth game that we just talked about earlier is Pittsburgh at Oakland. The number is 40.5. Apart from 2 games against the NFC North, Pittsburgh has kept all their games really low scoring. I think this is going to be one of those old school smash mouth 70s style games where it's going to be 13-10. So let's take under the 40.5. Okay, let me just scoot over to the side here as my straight up plays scroll to my side here. If you're still in a suicide pool, I think it's pretty easy this week. Denver will probably rebound and beat Washington. Kansas City will take care of business against Cleveland. New Orleans should have an easy time against Buffalo this week. They're pretty tough at home. San Francisco-Jacksonville game is in London. The Jaguars will show the British just how bad they are. San Francisco will romp here. Seattle is at St. Louis. I think this is going to be a blowout game. If you're desperate for a team that you haven't picked, like you've probably picked already Denver or Kansas City, if you're in one of those pools where you have to pick a different team, you might want to consider Carolina this week. Although it's a road game, they are playing very well. Tampa Bay swept Carolina the year before, or Carolina swept them the year before that. That's kind of what these guys do. Carolina might be pretty safe. New England is a division game. You might want to take them. They are very tough at home. I'd avoid that one, actually. Pittsburgh, as I mentioned, you might not have taken them already, will probably beat Oakland. Cincinnati is a good lock to beat the Jets at home. Atlanta, Arizona is intriguing. You might want to take the Cardinals. They played on the Thursday of the week before. Atlanta won last week, but they did not deserve it. If you saw the stats, they were outplayed in almost every department. You might want to consider Arizona. And for God's sakes, do not take Green Bay over my Vikings. They violate 5 of the 7 rules in my video on how to win a suicide pool. If you haven't checked it out, I make sure you do before you think about betting on Green Bay. My suicide pick this week will be Seattle, the Seattle Seahawks. Okay, so those are my picks for this week. Good luck to you. Make sure you check out my other videos. Like I said, I do a suicide pool video. It's in the link below. I also do a video on the ranking from 1 to 32 of every team. Make sure you check out my website, gioknows.com, where you can find all kinds of tools to help you with all the information you need to be a better prognosticator. And follow me on Twitter at gioknows. Okay, for the gioknows YouTube channel, I am Gio. Let's take the man's money.